You get to choose a life with magic or a life without. I choose magic. Hey there, it's Deb D, your host of You Are the Magic, the show that is supporting you in connecting to that magic within you. Through storytelling, magic activations, solo episodes, and special guest speakers, we are going to explore the magical realm and how you can anchor into magical you in grounded, practical, let's make it real and a part of your everyday type of magic. My intention and hope is that by listening to the episodes, you will access this magic inside you so that each day and in every breath, you anchor into that truth. Because it is true, my friend, you are the magic. When do you get to arrive? When do you have that beautiful moment where you're no longer trying to get somewhere? You're there. You have arrived. You are in your evolved story, what you've been working on and healing and working towards, you're there. When do we get that moment? How do we activate being in our evolved story? That is where we're playing today, my friends, because all season long, we've been exploring this evolution of your story, and we've been doing what happens in the evolution of our stories. We need to lower some resistance. We need to work with what's in our mind, our magical mindset, make friends with that inner critic, connect to our intuition, follow those puzzle pieces of our intuitively led life. This all is a part of becoming and stepping into the evolved story that you know that you want. And then we get to a point where we get to be in it. Because we can get a little bit bogged down in the preparing to, or I need to do this first. I find this a lot with myself and also other magic makers I'm working with. We can get a little bit healing tired. Haven't I done enough healing now? Can't I just be there? Yeah, you can. You can. And today I'm going to share with you an activation that I have been working for myself for 9 months now that is supporting me to be in my evolved story. Sure, I'm still lowering resistance, dealing with an inner critic, tapping into my intuition. That's all happening. But for the past 9 months, I have been in my evolved story, and I'm going to share that activation with you today because you may be like me, ready to activate and step in. And it all begins, my friends, at the kitchen table. I'm sitting at the often cluttered kitchen table in my sister Kathy's home in the Blue Mountains. And it's a beautiful, calm day. We're the only two at home, and we're sitting there at the table sipping our coffee and just in ease of conversation. And it's a great delight for me because my sister feels well enough to sit at the table and maintain this conversation with me. She's in late stages of her warrior journey with cancer, and not every day is a day that she can sit up and sip the cup of tea and be in the conversation. And so I know that this is special and I'm cherishing it. And I'm also cherishing how Kathy holds space for me. As my elder, she's for years been also my mentor, who I share my dreams with and what's building and growing in my life, what I'm creating. And she's been such an amazing guide. The way she holds space, and she's holding it for me now. And I'm telling her about my new business, Big Life Magic, and how it's growing and my hopes and dreams and, what I'm encountering along the way. And she's holding that space and she's inviting curious questions and we're there. And then something new happens. A story that's been sitting in my heart for years finds the courage to be expressed. Kathy, I want people to know my name. And there it is, it's out there. I want people to know my name. That's what I'm building here. That's my desire. That's what lives really deep in my heart. Now, to be clear, this is not a desire to be famous. This is not about vanity metrics with who's following me or what magazine cover am I on. It's not that at all. But it is this deep knowing that I've had for years that I feel like I am here to share what I know with a lot of people. I want to have a big impact. I now know so much about grief transformation. I know why our hearts break and why that's at service to our soul. And I want so many people to know that because it's going to make them feel better. I want people to know my name. I want my books to be read. I want to speak on big stages. I know this, but I've never given breath or life to this until this moment at the kitchen table. And it's out there now. Is this going to be true? I don't know yet, but I know it's out there now. Many moons later, my sister Kathy surrenders her cancer warrior journey. And in the wake of her loss, not immediate, but in the ripples after, I realize the only other person who knew my deep, deep, big life magic dream has now passed over. Does the dream pass over too? Or is this my invitation to step further into expressing and giving life to this dream? I don't give life to this dream immediately. My heart is repairing from the loss of Kathy. But over time, I start to reconnect. I don't want this to pass over with Kathy's passing over. I can feel it in my heart. I want this. I want to be that woman. And so I start to create a relationship with her. It starts slow, but we build. It's now a year later, and I'm sitting in a coaching session with Jill. Jill is my business coach. She's grounded, she's inspired, she's supportive, but she's also on point with helping me understand the next step for building my big business. And I decide in the safety of this place to tell Jill about her, to say, Jill, I want people to know my name. I want people reading my books. I want people understanding what I understand about grief transformation and the relationship between grief and joy and your magic. And I begin to breathe this new life into it now. And then Jill says, where is she? And I say, she's here, but she's just all the way over there. I can see her, but she's in the shadow. And then Jill says, maybe we need to give her a voice and activate inside me. Yes, I'm going to give her a voice. So the next morning, I open to a new page in my journal and I write at the top of the page, be her. And I just start to write. What does it mean to be her? Why is she far away? How can I call her in? And over days and days and days, every morning, I just play in this space of be her. Being her. What does it mean to be her? What does it feel like to be her? What is she doing? What is she not doing that I'm currently doing that maybe I should stop doing? And I just continue to explore, 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 and I maintain this activation. Being her, I give her voice. For me, I begin to activate that voice within me. And truth be told, it's slow. She comes closer slowly. And some mornings I've only got a couple of things to say about being her. There's some mornings where there's pages of insight about being her. But over time, I consistently feel that she is getting closer. Just going to pause there because I'm going to invite you now. What's deep in your heart? What do you know is a desire in this life? For me, I knew I want to write books. I want to speak from stages. I knew that, and I knew that for a long time. It wasn't just in that moment with my sister Kathy. That's the only time that it came out of my mouth after years of knowing it. I have this visceral memory, my friends. I'm standing in a playground one afternoon and my son Sage is about 3 and he's going up and down the slide and playing around, and my job as the mother is to just stand there and make sure he doesn't hurt himself or another kid. And in this place, there's this opening up. I don't know what I was doing, playing in imagination. I actually can't remember, but I remember this really clearly. I can still feel it in my body. I was like, oh, I'm going to write books. Oh, I'm going to write books from my voice that are going to help people. It was there. My heart spoke to me. This is years ago. My son Sage would now be 22. That's 19 years ago. On a random afternoon in the playground, because I was open and allowing, my heart shared it with me. You're going to write books. You're going to share stories, your stories, and it's going to make a difference. I could feel it. I could feel that it was big. I had no idea how that was going to happen, but I could feel it as a truth because it wasn't my mind coming up with what do I want to do in this life. It was here. Years ago, my friends. It's 19 years ago. So I asked this, what's in your heart? Has it been given voice? Are you connected to it? Do you believe it? Because this is the first part of the activation in being her or him or they, choose your pronoun of choice. But this is what needs to happen first when we want to activate being in our evolved stories. We need to connect to that story. And it's not about I want the next promotion or I'm ready to fall in love with the next person. These are parts of our story. I'm inviting here your big story, your big life magic story. Are you connected to it? And it doesn't have to be big to anyone else. It's yours. It's just big to you because it lives there. And you know what, my friends? It's always lived there. It's your soul story. It's a part of what you're here to do. And it's there. So the first part of this activation is connect there. If you're not yet connected there, be okay about that. And that's the first step, my friend. Just start to breathe into there. Don't think about your big life and the magic you're going to make. Feel it here in your heart space. breathe into your heart and just say, I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to connect to it. Bring it. Come on, universe. I want to step onto the path. I am evolving right now. And you invite it in. And once you are connected to it, then spend some time, just you and the dream, getting comfy and cozy together. You really do need to really connect to it. And then when you're connected to it, you need to commit to it. Okay, I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't even know what happens first, second, or third in this journey. But I am going to now breathe into being her, believing in this dream in my heart and turning up for it. And then what you do is like I was doing, and months later, I'm still doing it, my friends. You call her in. Be her at the top of the page. You write explore. You start to talk to others about it when you feel safe and comfortable to do so. That took me about 2 months before I was ready to start to, maybe even more than 2 months before I was able to voice it with Jill in that safe space. And then it was another 2 months before I could say it to anybody else other than Jill. This is very private work, my friends. It's private magic. It's me and my journal, being her, and then checking in with Jill and telling her what I'm noticing about her. And it's growing in this safe place. And it expands. What I noticed in doing this activation is the her that I saw in the shadow at the distance, the her that was writing the books, speaking from the stages, living inside the life and the business and all of the relationships that felt aligned. She got closer. There were days where I felt like I was her. Absolutely, there were some days where I was like, wow, I'm really not being her today. I need to work with my inner critic, or I need to, work on boosting some confidence here. But then catch this. Guess what happens next? I get some evidence. I get some feedback from the universe that I am moving in the right direction and that this is working. It's December, so I've been being her in my journal now for a couple of months. It's late December, so I'm probably closer to 3 months now of being her. And I have a friend here on the island, and she has a friend, and we're all getting together to get on the boat for an afternoon of fun. So we drive to pick up this woman because she's coming with us on the boat. She gets into the back of the car and she reaches across from the back seat. She hasn't even hugged her friend yet. She reaches across from the back seat and kind of awkwardly hugs me and says, oh my God, it's so great to meet you. And I was like, okay, great. It's great to meet you too. That feels a little bit bigger than I was expecting, because I know that I've met this woman before. We had a moment in 2020. I was offering moments in May 2020. People were meeting me online so I could hold space for them. And she was someone who'd chosen a moment, and I knew that we'd had this connection back in May 2020. It's now December 2023, and I don't really remember much about that connection. I just remember that it was made. On our way to the boat, we stop at the store because we need to get ice, and of course we need to get snacks. And as we're in the store, we're in the checkout line, and she stands and she turns to me and she says, okay, so now that we're not in the car, like, can I give you a proper hug? And I was like, okay. I mean, I want to receive hugs. Sure, give me the hug. And then she tells me, wow, this is really big for me. Like, it was amazing connecting with you in 2020. And I have been following what you've been doing. And you've been helping me. This is big for me. I get to meet Deb D today. And it feels really surreal standing in this line waiting at the checkout. But here it is, my friends. There's the evidence. Someone knows my name. And that someone has actually known my name since 2020, way before I was activating being her. And so I get this evidence and I'm like, oh, this is it. This is this moment. Someone knows my name. It's being reflected back to me. That's in the December. In the late January, I'm up in New York City and I'm with a community of magic makers who are in the magic membership, the Big Life Magic Makers. And we're all there and we're doing some magic activations together and we're calling in, what's your dream for the year? And I say, it still sounds awkward to say it out loud, but I'm going to say it. I want people to know my name. And one of the magic makers, who hasn't been with us as long as some of the others, she turns and she says, oh, I thought that was already you. I thought that's who you were. I was like, oh, there's more evidence. These women are showing me I am her. There are people who know my name. There are people who see me in that light. And I take it as winks from the universe. I am moving in the right direction. Here is the evidence. Keep going. And I could keep going because we are now in June and I have continued to have moments where people say to me, I see your vision. I see you. I see how big your impact can be. Let me help you get there. It continues to turn up. Just last night, I'm sitting outside connecting with my husband at the end of the day. And I say, guess what happened today? It happened again. It keeps turning up. But do you know what? I'm also still turning up. It's 9 months later, and I'm not necessarily every morning writing at the top of the page, be her. But I am still consistently doing it enough for it to be a pattern. And I'm connected to being her. And you know what? I am her, my friends. I am inside my evolved story. I'm taking note. There are people who know my name. There are people who know Deb D of Big Life Magic. There are people who are supporting me to elevate and expand and amplify this. And I'm continuing to turn up for that. And let's be real, at the same time, I'm turning up for when I need to lower resistance. I'm turning up for times when I lose a little bit of confidence. They're the days I go back to the beginning of the activation, be her at the top of the page. So what's possible for you if you take this activation into your life and step into your evolved story? You get to be in it. You connect to it. What is it? Only you know that. Only you and your soul and your heart know that. Nobody else can tell you. Connect to it, commit to it, and then call it in. Call her in. You got to be consistent. You got to keep turning up for it. It is not a fast activation, but it works. And it's also fun. You get to start to play in what it feels like. And when it starts to come into your body, it feels authentic. It doesn't feel like I'm trying hard. Because you know how like in the manifestation world, how they say, visualize the thing that you want. Visualize having the thing that you want. Like an example, like visualize the red car that you want to buy. And you can visualize that red car and you can visualize yourself driving that red car. But you know what I find in that? Visualization can be fleeting. Plus, you're visualizing the car, not you driving the car, not the feeling of you being the person who found the perfect red car that you want. Whereas this being her activation that I'm inviting, which is connect, commit, and then consistently turn up for calling her in and literally documenting that, putting words on paper, being with the evidence, the calling in. Because then what you're doing is you're going straight to the center of the vibration. Note in my story, I did not call in. I did not visualize the next book I'm going to write. That is going to come from the vibration of being her. And I'm telling you, it has. Over the last few months, I've got all this amazing information about book number 2. Yes, hello, that's coming. And it does come. But how did it come? Because I got into my evolved story, I committed to it, and I called her in. And then from there, it will come. Because it's documented. You're going to build evidence. You're calling it in. You get to be inside the big story that is your life. You do. So activate it. Call her in. And have some fun while you're doing it. It's not a fast activation. But note this. Your big life, that's not fast either. We want to turn up for all of the relationships, all of the lessons, all of the experiences. Because I'll also tell you the truth here. A part of being her has meant in the last few months I've needed to let some things go. Some things that I was doing that were in the way, and also some people who are not aligned with meeting me at this vision. Were not actually on my team to support me to get this vision into fruition. The universe showed me that they weren't aligned. And despite how painful it is, I've needed to start to let some people and some things and some habits and some ways go. But that makes space for more calling in. Be her. Be her. The woman who is in your big life magic story. In the evolution of you. Feel that. Be that. Be her. So my friends, every episode of You Are the Magic is dedicated. And today, when the dedication dropped in for me, I was like, oh yeah, there it is. I dedicate this Being Her episode to my friend, soul sister, and forever champion, Tosca Di Matteo. When Tosca and I met years ago, Tosca saw me. She saw me in my light. She has forever been someone who turns up and says, you're bigger than that, Deborah. Your light is stronger. I see you global. I see the amount of people that you can influence. Tosca has always held that space for me. She's always inviting me just that little bit beyond my comfort zone. Tosca has never dropped the baton. I've dropped it on myself many times, but she hasn't. Tosca, I dedicate this episode to you as a woman who is inspiring me daily because I see you being her. Things are coming into fruition and manifest in your life, and I'm so happy for you because you also stepped into being her. So thank you for inspiring me, and thank you for holding that torch for me, especially on the days when I didn't feel like I was her, or that it felt too hard or it hurt. You held that space, you continue to hold that space, and I love you and appreciate you for it. I will forever be your champion. I'm so happy for you and what is happening in your life as you have chosen to be her. And now, my friends, feel into who is somebody who is on your side, who is somebody who is holding the torch, shining the light, saying, yeah, I'm going to be there with you as you figure this out. And send some love and a blessing towards that person now, because we all need those people. We all need the Toscas in our life that hold the torch for us. send that magic across the world right now, and we'll activate that. And please let me know. Who is the her that you're calling in? What does it feel like to call her in? Be her. Please, I love magic stories. Please feel that you can reach out to me and let me know. Or if you want a clarifying question around this activation of being her, because I didn't, on purpose, didn't give a lot of detail. It's your adventure, but you call her in, my friends. You call her in. Next week is the final episode for season 3, where we've been exploring air and our magical mindset. And we've had amazing guests, Jill, who I referenced, Tosca, who I referenced, have all been a part of this season. You can play some catch up if you haven't caught every episode. But next week, what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be sharing with you the evolved vision for Big Life Magic, which means that this podcast is also evolving. So I am ready, because I've been calling her in, I am ready to share with you all the evolved story and vision for Big Life Magic. And you know that that includes you because you're a part of the community. I'm taking you with me, my friends. We're all going higher. That's coming up next week, our final episode for season 3. But for now, I do invite you to, just smile. Let the shoulders relax a little bit. Take a big, deep breath into the belly. And affirm it. Know it to be true, because it is. It is you, my friend. You are the magic. Thank you for spending your time and your magic with me in the latest episode of You Are the Magic. I invite you now to click the link for ATTUNE. It's a 5-day intuition activation, which means over 5 days, you will receive an audio activation from me, which is going to support you in tuning your intuition, your magical insight, the magical language that lives within you and connects you to our divine, glorious universe. Because I believe it. If we are all connected to our intuition, then we're all in ease, fun, play in the magical realm, and that's where your big life magic lives. Other ways to stay connected to me and Big Life Magic is all available to you on the website, biglifemagic.com. There you'll find the links and information for the Big Life Magic Makers, our virtual community for women. You may choose to join the membership. We would be delighted to welcome you. Plus, there's more information about working one-on-one with me or joining a new moon circle, which is available every new moon, open to anyone across the globe who wishes to join us. There's so many ways that we can connect together and connect to your magic, and I invite you to say yes to that now. I'm also going to ask this. If this episode or this show has inspired you or changed anything in your world, I would deeply appreciate a review on the platform that you're watching or listening on. For I believe when we share and elevate each other, our magic expands. And this is what I wish for us all. So breathe it in now, my magical friend. Breathe it in and smile, for it's true. You, my friend, are the magic.